brothers, okay, we need to get one of these. This guy is rocking here. So we inspired from his story, and we just followed what he did. And of course, it's working. And no words, no more words, no more words from me. It's a privilege for me to introduce you to Matt Morris. He's double IMD in the company, some more than 100,000 per month in World Ventures. He's in the top 3 income earners. Maybe now he's in the top 1 income earner. And trust me, his knowledge is like very, very valuable. He's also a father of 3 children, and he's doing network marketing like nobody else. He has a team more than 400,000 people total. And thank you, Shane, for coming on board. And you have a great leader like Shane, and many people like Michael Slogan, Paul, Gary, Philip, and no more words from me. Mr. Matt, are you there?
I'm here. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for hopping on.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for your time. I know it's like we appreciate very much your time. I know your time is limited. You are very busy, and for you that you are taking time from for Australia team. Thank you very much, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, my pleasure to be on. Super excited about the market. It's been several years since I've been to Australia, so definitely really excited about coming back. Hopefully, will get me slotted on one of the acceleration trainings or millionaire boot camps and all that are coming up, so I can get a chance to meet you guys and hang out. Excuse me. Definitely looking forward to that in a big way. And just got to give all the credit to Savas. The only reason why I get credit in World Ventures, it makes me look like a smart guy because I've got a lot of really amazingly talented leaders in my organization, and so I can't take very much credit other than I tipped a few dominoes. And that's always the key. Whatever you lack in, whatever you feel like you're lacking, you can always sponsor that. So, when I got going and got really serious about network marketing, I didn't really consider myself to be that great of a communicator, but I knew I could outwork most people, and so I invited a lot of really great communicators to business presentations, and they got started. And even though they were better than I was, because I out-recruited them, I ended up making more money. And what I just kind of realized, for me, sponsoring kind of levels the playing field. If you're able to be coachable and teachable and just outwork everyone else, it's amazing what you can accomplish. So if I've got one secret over the years, it's just been outworking most people. And I remember when I first got started, when I first really got serious in network marketing, I was actually working with Wayne Nugent. I had been laid off from a software company, and I worked for the company for about 1.5 years, and I was all in, man. Great employee. Anything they told me to do, I thought I was going to get all these stock options and life would be great. And ended up laying off 2/3 of the company in one day. Now, luckily, I had been involved. I got started in Amway when I was 18 in college. I signed up in Amway. I'd never heard of network marketing. I had a cute waitress that asked me if I ever thought about being in business for myself, and she was kind of cute, and I really wanted to build rapport with her, so I said, yeah, sure, all the time. And she asked me for my number. I gave it to her. She invited me to Hilton Hotel one night to talk business, and so I was excited to talk business at a hotel with her one night. And unfortunately, there's a room full of people. And a guy got up on the board and started drawing circles and talked about time leverage, and I just got hooked. And never made any money in Amway, but it was a great learning curve. It's the reason why. I don't know if you guys can see behind me, hundreds and hundreds of books. I got 2 bookshelves here in the library and some boxes of books in the garage that I can't fit on the shelves anymore. But just got a commitment to growing myself, and I've always really lived by the rule that your income is never going to grow beyond who you are as a person, and so work as hard on yourself as you do on your business. And that formula has kind of worked. But Even though I never made any money, I got hooked on the concept. I caught the dream, and so when I got laid off from that software company, I decided to get into network marketing and decided to become a professional. And because previous to that, I had just kind of played around with it. I looked at it kind of like a side hobby, and I said, I've got the company I worked for, there's professionals in that company. Our CFO was a professional, in the world of finance. Our CEO was a professional when it came to managing corporations and all that. I said, well, I don't really want their lifestyle, and so I decided to get good at network marketing. Read every book I could get my hands on, and one of the shelves over here is actually all network marketing books. There's about 60, 65 different books specific to network marketing, and just decided to really go pro. And I know there's everyone on the webinar, I believe. I thought it was just going to be 5 or 6 of you, and Savas had said there's actually quite a bit more. So, keep this super informal. If you guys have questions for me in the chat box, if you want to put any questions in there, feel free to, pop those in, and I can answer them for you. But what happened was when I decided to go pro, I got involved in a nutrition company selling vitamins and all the fun stuff that nutritional companies sell, colon cleansing. You can imagine how excited and passionate I was about colon cleansing products. And, really passionate about the residual income and making a lot of money and having time freedom, just not passionate about the products. And so ended up meeting Wayne Nugent through kind of a weird situation. I met Wayne, and long story short, he ended up introducing me to travel and network marketing. And unfortunately, the company that he introduced me to was owned by a couple guys that had never done network marketing before. But what happened was I put all the effort that I had put in that nutritional company, where I was just beating my head up against a wall. I was sponsoring a lot of people, not getting duplication, working really hard, just not seeing much results. I took the same amount of effort, maybe a little bit more, and I put it into this travel company. And what ended up happening is I had been working as a waiter at Saltgrass Steakhouse on the weekends just to pay my bills, was living at home with my mom, making $400, $300, $400 a week, something like that, to 6 months later got to $10,000 a week in income. And I'll just give you what I did to make that work. A team of 10,000 people in 2 years. I just took a season of my life, and this was a startup company. And as you guys may know, 90% of startup companies go out of business within the first 2 years, and this company was no different, ended up going out of business in less than 2 years. But I just knew I had a window of opportunity to really go out and capture market share, kind of like you guys do in Australia right now, since we're brand new there. And I worked as hard as I possibly could, and just ate to faint, from as early in the morning as I could get meetings set up. I tried to book my calendar so I had a reason why I had to get up in the morning. Lunch presentations, evening presentations, didn't matter how far I had to drive. The only thing that mattered is I was going to do 5 presentations a day. And Wayne told me if I do 3 to 5 presentations a day, and I'll personally sponsor 30 people fast, that will turn into thousands. And so I just decided to be super coachable, because Wayne had earned over $1 million before. He had built an organization of, I think, 70, 80,000 people with his last company. And so I said, I'm just going to do what he says. I'm going to sponsor 30 people fast, and I'm going to go do 3 to 5 presentations a day. And he didn't define fast, and so I said, well, I'll just do it in the first month. So I went and personally enrolled 30 people in 1 month. And what happened was, and this is kind of cardinal rule in network marketing, the speed of the pack is determined by the speed of the leader. And so because I put in so much personal momentum, I created so much personal activity that created the group activity, that created group momentum. So personal momentum always comes before group momentum. It's very hard, amazingly hard to get any kind of group momentum if you don't have personal momentum, because the speed of the group is determined by the speed of the leader. So you always set the bar. And what's interesting, if I look at my organization, I've personally enrolled about 200 people in World Ventures over the last 5 years. It's turned into over 300, well over 300,000, about 400,000, I think almost 400,000 people now in 28 countries around the world. And if I look at my entire organization, if I see who's sponsored more than I have, I think the only ones that have are Savas, Andreas, and Christos. I think you guys, between the three of you, I think you've sponsored more than I have, quite a bit more than I have probably. But you know, you set the bar. It's amazing, out of 300,000 people plus, you'd think there'd be, you know, a lot more people that had done more than I have personally. But it's just one of those rules. Very rarely are you going to have people in your organization that do more than you do. And you know, what I just decided to do, because I really understood the timing, you know, at that time, was I had to go on all in. I had to work like my life depended on it. And the way I looked at it, I said, I'm going to work my life like my life depends on it, because it does. You know, my future depends on what I do over the next 90 days or so. And, you know, I just committed to do, you know, work as hard as I possibly could for a period of time. And it worked out to be about 6 months. And in 6 months, got to over $10,000 a week in income. Now, you know, I'm not the guy, you know, I never promote it's easy, never sugarcoat it. I'm kind of the guy that always talks about, you know, it's a lot of work. For those of you that want to make a lot of money, it's a lot of work, and it's worth it. You know, the juice is always worth the squeeze with what we do. And you know, I didn't get a lot of sleep. I burned the candle at both ends. I can remember, you know, driving 3 hours to go do a meeting, having to drive home that night 3 hours because I had a meeting in town the next morning, and you know, pulling in around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, having to pull the hairs on my leg just to stay awake, because that's how tired I was. And, you know, an interesting thing happened. You know, obviously, you know, you can imagine, created a lot of results. Those 30 ended up turning into thousands. It worked. What Wayne said was true, because I put a lot of activity in quickly. See, there's a law that I want you to write down. It's called the law of compressed activity. And the law of compressed activity says that the effort that you put in a compressed amount of time, a short amount of time, is going to pay you way more money than the same amount of effort put in over an extended period of time. So if you're going to enroll 100 people in World Ventures, if you enroll 100 people in World Ventures within, you know, 3 to 6 months, that's going to make you way more money long term than if you put in 100 over the next 3 to 6 years. You know why? Because of everything that I've talked about. Your group always looks at you to determine what they can do for themselves. Momentum in World Ventures is always created through belief. That's the one word. Write it down, underline it, circle it. Momentum comes from belief, and people believe based on what they see, not what they hear. So if they see that you've put in, you know, 30 personals in a 90-day time frame, guess what they believe they can do? They believe they can go do it. And so if you've got a brand new group, maybe you don't have a lot of people in your group, you want to look at your organization and say, all right, I've got to personally enroll to the degree of which I want everyone in my organization personally enrolling. And so that's one of the reasons why I still personally enroll today. In fact, today I was on the phone with a prospect, actually following up with a prospect. Yesterday I was on the phone with a prospect for personally enrolling someone. In fact, today I enrolled a guy in the UK on the trial thing. It's a guy that I've followed up with. You know, he's kind of been in my pipeline for a long time. So 300,000 people making, you know, more money than we can spend for sure. Why am I still personally enrolling? Because if I look at my group, if I'm not putting in at least a couple people a month, 2 or 3 people a month, and you know, if you think about it, it should not be hard to go out, especially if you're doing this full time, to go out and enroll 2, 3 people a month. I mean, it should be a no-brainer. If you're not doing that, you know, don't plan on ever making a lot of money if you're not consistently going out and personally putting in, people in the business. Because if I've got, 150,000 active people in my organization, do I want everyone out there, everyone in my group personally sponsoring a couple a month? If that were happening, yes. So I can't ever expect my group to do it for me. I think you lead from the front, you don't lead from the back. So, that's the key. And, if you want to get things going, what I've found, and, unfortunately, I had to do this a few times before World Ventures. That company went out of business. I went to a nutritional company again. Call me glutton for punishment, but went to another nutritional company. But what I did is I took that same 90-day sprint, all-out massive action. I put in 27 people my first month in the nutrition company and ended up becoming a six-figure earner, becoming the top earner in the company. And it was because I put in so many people so fast, I set the bar and had success. Now, the owner had never done network marketing company. Long story short, ended up having to go do something else. Did the exact same thing again. Unfortunately, didn't work out. Came to World Ventures, and I just saw this, and for me, it was the opportunity to be part of something really big. The Amway of travel, the Herbalife of travel, the Avon and Mary Kay of travel. See, there had been several companies that have tried network marketing. No one had ever been able to pull it off because it is a difficult thing to do. You need to have a lot of money. You got to have a unique technology, the product. I mean, just all of that is very difficult to do. But I knew, putting my business hat on, I knew someone was going to do it right. And if you just think about what we have our hands on, it's the biggest industry in the world. We got no competition, and it's the most exciting, fun, sexy product in the world. And so, it's like every presentation I do, I talk about it being sexy, and I say, raise your hand if you just want to be part of something sexy. And you know what? Everyone raises their hand. So everyone loves travel. And so, when I saw World Ventures, I said, you know what? Someone's going to do it right. Company had been in business for about 3.5 years, all signs pointing to World Ventures being that company. And I said, for my financial future and my family's financial future, I got to go all in. I mean, I have got to work as hard as I possibly can. And I'll just tell you what I did. I've got, at the time I had a daughter. Now I have 3 kids, a 5-year-old, a almost 4-year-old, and an 18-month-old. And, I just had to sit my wife down, and I had to tell her, sweetie, for the next 90 days or so, I've got to work like you've never seen me work before. I can't go to dinners. I can't go do date nights with you. I can't go have, dinner with the family. If the family comes over, I'm going to be in the office working. I'm not going to be able to spend, as much time as I want with my daughter, but the reason why I have to do this is so I can spend all the time I want with her. And, there were times where, I got to tell you, it was a little bit difficult. My mom and in-laws, they're all over for dinner, and, they're out having fun in the kitchen and the dining room, and I'm in my back office doing calls and doing conference calls and getting people's business launched. And, what happened, I put in about 60 personals in the first couple months, and most of my results in World Ventures have come from that short window of opportunity. And if I'm in your shoes, if I'm in Australia, there is a major benefit. I'm sure you guys are talking about it a ton, but the opportunity that you have right now is something that has never happened before, and it's never going to happen again. We've never launched Australia before. We're never going to launch it again. There's one launch, and that's it. And, we're in the first year. And so the first year is a foot race to go out and capture market share. And so it is definitely a time to put your running shoes on and to really show your organization what's possible. And for those of you who just decide that you're really going to take off, see, an airplane, it's kind of like a plane taking off on a runway. An airplane, if you've been a pilot, I've just not too long ago started taking private pilot lessons, and I'm going to get my pilot license here soon. But what I discovered when I started taking lessons, it's very similar to network marketing. the plane doesn't take off unless you're full throttle. So you got to be full throttle. So you don't put the throttle at like 50%. The airplane won't take off. It just stays on the runway and you crash into the end of the runway if you're at 50%. If you're at 60%, if you're at 70%, you don't take off at 70%. Full throttle. So how do you get your business to take off in World Ventures? You have to go full throttle. Now, you can't go full throttle forever. I mean, you can't go full throttle for a year. You will kill yourself if you go full throttle for a year, because what I'm talking about is if you're working a job, you're working 8 hours a day at your job, you got maybe 6 hours to sleep, and you got another 8 hours or so to work your World Ventures business. And it's tough on the body. If you're getting 4 to 6 hours sleep a night, you're working your job maybe 40 or 50 hours a week, and then you're also doing World Ventures 40 or 50 hours a week. You can only keep that up for a period of time. But if you really want to get this sucker going in a massive way, like the leaders, the $1 million earners have done in World Ventures, it's pretty much what all of us have done. And if I look at World Ventures and I look at some of my buddies and who are owners or top income earners in other network marketing companies, we've all done the exact same thing. We took a season of sacrifice, a season of our life, working as hard as we possibly could to set the pace and to set the culture for our organization. And so, you can have a few different cultures. Like I've got a team in Dallas, and they've got a culture of having a whole lot of fun. I mean, they have a ton of fun. Now, they produce, but, it's really more about having fun than it is producing business. I look at some of my other teams, Team No Sleep. What kind of culture do they have? Why do they call themselves Team No Sleep? They call themselves that because they said, money is more important than sleep. Building our dreams is more important than sleep. And so they build that into the culture. And so you got to be real mindful of what the culture is that you're creating. And so, sometimes I was having a debate with one of the other IMDs in World Ventures, kind of a newer IMD, and they were like, yeah, we feel like we really need to be posting more, lifestyle pictures. I'm like, dude, I see your Facebook. It's all kinds of lifestyle. It's you guys like sleeping late and, on vacation all the time, but I think you need to have even more posts about you doing travel parties, doing 2-on-1s, doing 1-on-1s. People need to see that you're working. And, they ended up obviously agreeing that's a good thing because that's part of the culture. So I would, if I were you, I would be, definitely wanting to create the culture of having an amazing, intense work ethic. And then the other thing that, being part of a lot of the different countries that have launched, one of the things that I think is just important is promoting the vision and painting the vision for what's going to happen in World Ventures in Australia. And, as an example, I was just in Kenya, and, part of the languaging that I want to instill in my leaders is promoting the vision effectively. So when I'm in Kenya, what I'm doing is every time I'm on stage, what I'm saying is, World Ventures in Kenya, we are putting in over the next year, we're putting in tens of thousands of people are joining World Ventures in Kenya. We are going to be one of the largest, if not the single largest network marketing in Kenya, because we've got the biggest industry in the world, and it's also the most exciting, fun, sexy industry in the world. If you compare us to any other company marketing any other products, I think we'd all agree 9 out of 10 people would much rather go travel around the world than go sell pills, potions, lotions, get skinny pills, and things like that. Nothing against those companies, but what we all want to do is go travel. And so this may be the first time you're hearing about World Ventures, but it will definitely not be the last. So you're hearing about it right now, and here's what you got to believe me, what's going to happen is it may be a week from now or it may be a few weeks from now, you're going to get a call from one of your friends who you know on a first name basis you're very close to, and they're going to call you and they're going to say, hey, I need to buy you a cup of coffee. I got an idea I need to run by you. And you're going to know it was World Ventures. It's going to happen because we are hitting the market hard and we are hitting the market fast. Now, we don't beg, convince, or plead anyone to do this. There's 4 million people in 40 million people in Kenya. We're just showing them all. We're looking for people who are leaders. We're looking for people who are visionaries. And see, when you see this, the light bulb either comes on or it doesn't come on. Either this is going to make a ton of sense to you and you're going to get it, you're going to understand it, and you're going to get excited, or not. And either way is totally fine with us. We just want you to know about something that you're going to hear about over and over and over again over the next several months. And so, you know, it's like that's how I start my presentation, is painting the vision for what our company is doing. And I'm letting them know, hey, we're not going to beg or convince you. What we're looking for is we're looking for leaders. And if you notice a little bit of the maybe subconscious element of what I just said, I said, you know, the light bulb's either going to come on or it's not going to come on. Either you're going to totally get this and understand it, it's going to make total sense and you're going to be excited, or it's not. Either way is totally fine with us. And so I'm almost challenging them. It's almost like if you don't get this, there's something wrong with you. People want their light bulb to come on. People want to be smart. And so when you say things like that, it's almost like they're going to listen a lot more intently because they really want to understand it. And so it's definitely a lot more of a sorting process than a selling process. You know, and one of the things that I'll tell you that we typically have happen in new markets, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this yet or not, you will, but things will go wrong. And one of the things that when I'm in a new market, what I usually do, I say the only promise that I'm going to make everyone in the room right now is that World Ventures is going to let you down. We're going to let you down at some point because we are brand new here. Now, we've got a giant of a company. We'll do about $300 million per year. I mean, we're the 65th largest direct selling company in the world. Did 195 million last year. We should do around 300 million this year. We've had 22 straight months of record-breaking growth with our company. But in Australia, we're brand new. And so there may be website issues. There may be, you know, customer service issues. There may be dream trip issues. And I'm just going to be upfront with you. I just want to level with you. I figure you can handle the truth. We're going to let you down at some point. And if you're the kind of person who needs everything to be perfect, let me just be real with you. Now's probably not the time for you to join. You know, you can join a year from now when things are a lot more perfect. I mean, it's probably never going to be totally perfect, but a year from now, things will be a lot more perfect. And so if you're the kind of person that needs every T crossed and every I dotted, don't even join now. Join a year from now. Now, a lot of the people that you know may have already heard about it and gotten involved, but I would much rather under-promise and over-deliver than try and hype you up. Does that make sense to everyone? Raise your hand. You know, and so what happens is the more you take it away, the more they want it. And in a new market, whenever someone comes up with an objection for you, you know, my way of handling objections, if I'm in new markets, typically, is, you know, now just may not be the right time for you. You know, we don't have a lot of dream trips in Australia, and I know you guys have trips, and I don't want to make it sound like things are really bad. I'm just telling you, from my experience, coming from a place of strength versus selling someone is always going to bring more people, attract more people to you. And so I'll just say, listen, now may not be the right time for you. I mean, right now, really what we're looking for is leaders. We're looking for visionaries. We're looking for people who really get this business model. And you know, at least that's my standpoint, because I'm looking for leaders, and I don't want to be perceived as having to beg, plead, and convince anyone to do the business. So, you know, that's a handful of things that I would encourage you to do, but I would just be constantly painting the vision for what you're going to do. You know, over the next year, we are putting tens of thousands of people. We're going to have multiple international marketing directors in Australia. We're going to have multiple people earning the $1 million per year ring, just like Savas has. You know, just be painting that picture of what's going to happen. And, you know, coming from a place of certainty and strength and zero doubt, total conviction in your mind that all of that is going to become a reality. And one of the books I've got behind me somewhere is called Primal Leadership by Daniel Goleman. And primal leadership talks about emotional intelligence, or the transfer of energy, the transfer of emotion. And, you know, one of the things that you'll see with me, if you see me present on stage, you know, I never try and be very cool. You know, I'm all about passion. I'm all about the fun. I'm all about exactly where we're headed as a company. And you want to be able to transfer that emotion and get it through. And, you know, I know I'm speaking to the choir. You guys would not have had nearly the kind of success that you have had if you haven't already, you know, been doing a lot of what I've been talking about. But some of the other things that I think are super important, you know, one is getting people into action quickly, getting new members started. You know, I've got a concept that I actually learned from David Peach, score in 24, and it's something that you know, I talk in my Facebook groups. You know, I've got a you know, Facebook group where I'm basically the highest marketing director, regional marketing director in that Facebook group, and so for my teams that haven't started their own team. And so whenever I welcome someone to the team, one thing that I always put in there is score. You know, hey, welcome to the team. Let's score in 24. You know, that means you go out and you get your first person enrolled in the next 24 hours. And what we do is we reward that. So it becomes part of the culture. And people are hearing about it right away because, as we know, you know, law of physics, an object at rest tends to stay at rest. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. And so you want to get people in motion very, very quickly. So as soon as you enroll someone, you've got to almost have this, you know, time clock going on in your mind that says, if I don't help them enroll someone in the next 24 hours, I've lost them. So you haven't, if you get someone signed up in the business, you don't have anyone yet. You don't have anyone if you just enroll someone. You have someone when you help them sponsor someone else. You got to facilitate, and you got to really push the duplication process. Now, obviously, not everyone is going to take action like that, but you know, we as the sponsor and we as the upline, we want to do everything we can to get them into motion quickly, and you know, get them a quick win, get them some success under our belt. That gives them belief. Part of the way that belief is created is through experiences. And so if you get them a win, an experience of enrolling someone, that greatly elevates their belief system to get them to go out and do it again, and to do it a second time. And there's another interesting thing. Sometimes people have a little bit of fear of like, well, I don't want them to go out and get shot down right away. You know, I want to make sure they get fully trained. I want to spend the next 2-3 days training them and making, you know, indoctrinating them into World Ventures, because I don't want them to go, you know, get a no and have that knock them out of the game. And, you know, I've gone through that personally, and I've seen a lot of people do that. In fact, I remember years ago having a leader on my team, and he decided to implement this, what did he call it? A non-disclosure agreement. You're not allowed to tell anyone about this until you've been trained over the next 48 hours. And guess what happened? His momentum plummeted, went right down. So here's one interesting thing that happens. There's a thing called the law of consistency and commitment. And the law of consistency and commitment basically says that we have a natural, you know, kind of urge to remain consistent with what we say we're going to do. And so when someone goes out and they show the business to someone else, and they sit down with someone, if they're following the 3-step setup, saying, you know, sharing their why, letting them know it's a big deal, I'm all in, going to show it to you. It doesn't matter if you want to do it or not. Just wanted to give you the opportunity to see it. When that new person tells their friend, "Hey, this is big, and I'm all in. I'm building a huge business here," then that law of consistency and commitment kicks in. They become psychologically more committed to World Ventures because they've shown someone, even if that person says no, and it gets them, you know, to take the next step again. And so, score in 24, I would write that down, again, circle it, make that part of the culture of your organizations. The other thing, obviously, events. Events are everything in World Ventures. I know probably most of you who've been to the acceleration that happened, and you've been to some of the training events. That, if there's a secret sauce in World Ventures, it's the training. Mark Aceta, our director of training, he is the single best trainer I have ever seen in the network marketing industry. It's been right at 20 years I've been involved, and I've seen them all. I mean, I speak at some of the generic network marketing training events, and I've just never seen anyone that's as good as Mark. And so the fact that we have him, that was one of the main reasons why I knew World Ventures was the deal, because of Mark, I knew World Ventures had the best training system in the entire profession of network marketing. And so what we have is really a leadership development factory, and it's part of the culture of our organization. And it starts from Wayne and Mike down. And what Wayne taught me is that we are a personal development company disguised as a travel company. And what he told me early on in my career, he said, if you build people here, they will build the business. But if you don't build people here, they will not build the business. Because the reality is, most people are going to take a while to incubate. There's a lot of eagles in training. They're not an eagle yet, but they're an eagle in training. And it's going to take them a little while before they can, manifest the results that they really have deep down inside them, the capabilities. And so what we have within our training event is the ability to develop someone as a leader, to get them the belief. And again, I said earlier, everything rises and falls on belief. It all rises and falls on that. And so you've got to get people to believe in World Ventures. You've got to get them to believe in our opportunity, and you got them to have them believe in themselves. And the hardest part, and I'll tell you, me personally, becoming a millionaire in network marketing was really not that difficult. If I look at the things that I had to do to become a millionaire, it wasn't that hard. Believing it could happen to me, that was by far the most difficult thing. And how did I get to the point where I believed it could happen to me? It was through going to events. It was through going to trainings. It was through reading books. It was through listening to audio programs. That I had to become a millionaire before I could ever manifest the money. And so, also part of the culture, I'll just tell you, like when I welcome someone to the team, I say, welcome to the team, let's score in 24. Be sure to get registered for our next training event at www.wveventreg.com. And then I put in parentheses, I said the representatives who attend our training events are statistically proven to earn 10 times more than those who don't. And, we always said that it was 5 times more. Mark, at one of our leadership events the other day, he actually said that they've run the numbers, and it's actually 10 times more. So if you go to the training, you're statistically proven to earn 10 times more money. Well, what does that mean if you don't go? If you don't go, that means statistically you're proven to earn 10 times less. Now, I know I'm speaking to the choir. I'm saying these things to give you guys the verbiage that I use to promote events. And, I just, from the moment they get welcomed into the company, start promoting events right now. And I'll tell you, one of the best in the world of promoting events is Savas. And there could not be anyone better. I mean, the reason why he's had, one of the very fastest growing teams in all of World Ventures, the reason why him and his brothers have created, $1 million results, and they've got IMDs now on their team, multiple RMDs and above on their team, is because they've done such an incredible job of promoting events. And so I really will submit to him as far as strategies on promoting events. And so just listen to him and realize what an incredible blessing it is to have Savas as part of your upline, who is accessible, who is one of the hardest working guys in the company, who knows this. He became a professional. I remember when he first got started, and he came to me. I didn't know who he was, and he just said that I wanted to become a network marketing professional. And there's a certain level of kind of fire in his eyes, and he's just one of these guys that went out and did it. Outworked everyone. In the formula, this is what I think Savas has done, And what I've said for years, the formula for success, the formula for becoming wealthy is pretty simple. It's only three things you got to worry about. Number one is your financial vehicle. Number two is your effort, and number three is your skill. And so your success, your wealth is going to be equal to your financial vehicle multiplied by your effort, multiplied by your skill. And so what Savas did is he went to every training. He started reading the books. He went to additional seminars. He went to everything he could find to become a better person, to work on his skill set, to become a master. And because he got mastery and he worked as hard or harder than anyone else, where he is, and obviously he had the most amazing financial vehicle I think we have in the world, and World Ventures, then that has led to an incredible lifestyle. And so, that's where the rubber meets the road. You got to be willing to work your ass off, and you got to be willing to get really good. And if you get really good and you work really hard, you are going to produce results. It is just going to happen for you. And if some of you are listening to me right now, and maybe you're thinking, man, I feel like I have such a long way to go, that's exactly how I felt when I started working with Wayne Nugent. I was 24 years old, living at home with my mom, working as a waiter. I was $30,000 in debt, and I had a lot of desire. I had a strong work ethic. I was super coachable, but I felt like on a scale of 1 to 10, my skill set was maybe a 3.5 or a 4. And I looked at someone like Wayne, and it was like, man, this guy is a 10. How could I ever earn more money than him? I mean, it's like it would be impossible. But then what I realized is, if my skill set is a 3 and I work 4 times harder than Wayne, I could make more money than him. And that's what I decided to do. I just decided to go 8 to faint. I said, there is no one that's going to outwork me. There may be a lot of people who are better than me, but there's no one that's going to outwork me. And I was definitely not, in this company, I was not the best closer. I was not the best inviter. I was not the best at follow-up. I wasn't the best at anything at all, but I worked amazingly hard. I did so much work in such a short amount of time. What ended up happening was my skill set got really good. See, there's an art and science to doing this business, and the science is easy. I could give you a manual, and you could read the manual, and you'd have the science. That's not that hard. But there's also an art. It's learning what to say to people at the right time, and it's. It looks like I may be having a little bit of difficulty. I just got a warning. Looks like it's back now. But it's Vince Lombardi, one of the greatest football coaches of all time. They said, what's your secret to being so successful as a coach? And he said, well, it's knowing who to kick in the ass and knowing who to pat on the back. And they said, well, how do you know who to kick and who to pat? And he said, well, you pat the ones who needed to be kicked, and you kick the ones that needed to be patted long enough to know the difference. And it's kind of like that. If you're worried about screwing things up, don't worry about screwing it up. Go out and screw up a lot. If you're worried about the perfect recruiting script, there's not one. If you want to know the perfect closing script, there's not one. What matters is who you are and what your passion is. And if you can paint a vision to people and let people know where you're headed and what World Ventures is doing, and just letting them know your commitment, then that's going to attract people way more than any script ever will. And so I'm just amazingly excited. Love to any questions that I can help you guys out with. I am definitely all in. Feel free to put anything in the chat. I was just looking at an email. I think Shane put some questions for me. The fastest way to get someone to go all in after they've signed up. One is like what I say as soon as I sign up someone, I say, you know what, here's number one is I want you to realize what you have your hands on. You spent $360 to get started. That's one of the greatest parts about our business. One of the worst parts about our business, it's only $360. If you treat it like a $360 investment, it'll pay you like one. So you got to treat this like a $3.6 million business. If you opened up a $3 million franchise, would you show up to work? Would you go, do the learning? Would you do all the things that were required of you? Obviously you would, because you had some skin in the game. And so you got to treat this like a business. We've created multiple millionaires in World Ventures. And the millionaires that were created in World Ventures didn't become millionaires because they treated this like a hobby. So you've got to realize exactly what you have your hands on. Number two, I want you to have fun. This is the travel business. You know, my job is to teach you how to put me to work for you, right? So I'm here for you, and I want to lock them in emotionally to me. And so I was just with my prospect that I was talking about today. This is what I was telling him on the phone. I said, here's the deal. When you and I team up, I'm your wingman. Think of me as your business partner. I'm here for you. So you can call me every day. You can send me text messages every day. My job is to go to work for you. You will give up on you before I'll give up on you, and I will just commit to you if you're ready to make a big run here, if you really want to create the financial goals that you've told me that you want to, it can happen. We will make it work if you will commit. Your job is to be a pleasure to work with. Okay, so don't bog me down with customer service questions and things like that. I'm here to help you make money. So let's have fun together. I promise you I'm going to be a fun guy to work with. And if, I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'm here for the next 20, 30, 40 years. I'm going to retire and will this business to my child. And so are you ready to get started? So that's the kind of thing. That's how you lock someone in, is let them know how committed you are to their success. And I always tell people, I said, in fact, I had a couple of people quit recently that I personally sponsored, and they've been in business for 2-3 years and just never enrolled anyone, no success, whatever. And they actually called to apologize to me and let me know that they're quitting. Now, I obviously kind of, tried to save them, but I would much rather give birth than resurrect the dead, and so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with them. But why did they call to apologize to me for canceling the business? It's because I told them I'm here for you. You'll give up on you before I'll give up on you, and you will never suffer from a lack of support by working with me. That I can guarantee you. So, because people want to know a few things when they're looking at the business. Does it work? Can I do it? Will you help me? Does it work? At this point, you'd have to be brain dead not to realize this works. Can I do it? That's where, that's probably the biggest challenge, is can I do it? That's why if I'm at a presentation and I'm doing a meeting, I say, hey, if you're a guest, I want you to look at the person who invited you here, and I want you to just ask this question. Can you do what they're doing right now? Can you do that? You're just sitting there, right? You're not doing anything. And so, letting them know we have a system in place. If you follow the system, it will work with you. And then sometimes you have to just tell them they can do it. See, when someone says, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I've got to think about it, I got to talk to my spouse, what that really means is I'm not sure I can do this. Because I don't have the money is a BS excuse. I mean, anyone can come up with the money. If I were to say, someone says, I don't have the money, I said, all right, if I could sell you my Ferrari tomorrow for $360, could you come up with the money? And then go sell it for, $100,000. Obviously, you could come up with the money. So it's not that you don't have the money. That's not the reason why you're not doing this. You're not doing this, and you've got to think about it or try and come up with the money because you don't believe you can. And I just want to tell you, with your personality, there is absolutely no reason why you can't go crush this. You and me, if you will let me be your wingman, I will go to work and I will show you everything I know. You will never suffer from lack of support, and I'll help you make your money back in the next week if you'll just follow my coaching. Can you do that? Yes? Great. Put it on your credit card. Okay. They had the money. It was on their credit card. They just didn't believe they could do it, so they lied and said, I don't have the money. See, it's just a smoke screen. A lot of times they have it. They don't really need to talk to their spouse. No one ever needs to think about it. Sometimes it's just a matter of saying, tell me what's really going on. I need to think about it. Okay, well, tell me what's really going on. Because I know you're not having to think about it just because you've got to think about it. You either feel like this is for you or not. Chances are, do you like it? Do you want to do it? Yeah, I want to do it. Okay, well, what's really holding you back? And what's really holding them back is usually just a lack of belief. And so realize that that's the main reason people don't enroll, is lack of belief. And the main reason why people don't do anything when they enroll is a lack of belief. So, people who want to think about it, I think I just answered that question. Best way to explain the urgency now. I just let them know, about timing and positioning. That's a big one. With you guys in Australia, what I do, in fact, this is what I do. I'm doing a presentation. I pull out my cell phone and I said, you know, when I get to the 4 stages of growth, I talk about formulation, concentration, momentum, and stability. I said, you know, our company is in momentum right now. Right at that beginning stage, we're enrolling about 30,000 people a month in Australia, brand new. I mean, we are in the formulation phase. We are just getting started. You could go ask 100 people on the streets, hey, have you heard of World Ventures? You would be lucky to get one person that says they've heard about it. You might get 1 out of 1,000 maybe that have even heard of World Ventures. So you got a wide open market, but it's not going to be wide open forever. You pull out your cell phone and you scroll through your contacts, every single person that you know that you have in your contact is going to hear about World Ventures. And so you just want to make sure you're the first one to show it to them. Again, we don't beg, convince, plead, nothing like that. We're just looking for people who see it, who catch the vision for what we're doing. And all we're doing is sharing a cool idea. And, you know, chances are most of the people you know would love to make more money. They'd love to travel more, and they'd love to have more fun. You ready to get started? Again, that's how, you know, the fear of loss is a greater motivator than the desire for gain. Anticipated growth for the business. You know, this year we'll do about $300 million over the next couple years. You know, we're actually approaching $1 billion in overall sales. You know, we grew about $50 million last year. We should grow about $100 million this year. If we grow $200 million, get to about a $500 million company. I mean, the writing's just on the wall. And one of the things that, you know, I just look at, if I look at the network marketing profession, you've got Herbalife. Herbalife did about $4 billion a year. They are the #1 company in the weight loss industry in network marketing. $4 billion a year. They've created hundreds, if not thousands, of millionaires in weight loss. Weight loss is a $50 billion a year industry. They've created hundreds, if not thousands, of millionaires. They do $4 billion a year all over the world. They've been in stability for 15 years, and last year they recruited 1.9 million new distributors. 180,000 people a month are still joining Herbalife. 180,000 people a month are joining Herbalife right now. Now, what do you think happens to the people who got involved in Herbalife 20 years ago, built a huge organization? What are they doing now? They're traveling around the world. They're making millions of dollars, and they're enjoying the fruits of the labor from effort they put in 20 years ago. What do you think is going to happen to World Ventures when we're not in a $50 billion a year industry, we're in a $7 trillion a year industry, and travel is the #1 dream in the world? The only reason why people go out and they sell, you know, Herbalife products are typically because they want to make money and go travel. So our product is their prize. So we got the biggest industry in the world. We got no competition, and it's the most fun, exciting product in the world that everyone wants. We're not having to do a switch pitch. We're not saying my Hawaii is better than your Hawaii. My Bora Bora is better than your Bora Bora. My pyramids in Egypt are better than your pyramids in Egypt. They're all the same. We're just going to show you how to get there at wholesale, or we're going to show you how to earn your vacations and not have to pay anything for them. Are you ready to get started? So what we have our hands on, and this is why I am still laser focused, this is why I'm in the game, it's why I'm still doing you know, webinars like this, is because the writing's on the wall. We're going to be bringing in hundreds of thousands of people a month. Millions and millions of people are going to join World Ventures. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people in Australia who join World Ventures over the next few years, and right now it's yours for the taking. If you don't go capture market share, someone else will. If you don't go capture the market, someone else will. That's got to be the message that you're talking about over and over and over and over. And so, so I know we've been at it about an hour or so. If anyone's got any questions, I mean, I could go through a ton of how-tos, but listen, the how-tos don't matter. What matters is what you're going to do coming out of this webinar. What matters is what you're going to do over the next 90 days. And if I were you, I would sit down and I would just create a game plan if you haven't already. I know there's probably some people listening in who, you know, maybe you're not almost a marketing director like Shane, and you don't have the business rocking like Justin, you don't have an organization the size of Savas, you're just kind of getting started, you've had some initial success. And, you know, if there's ever a time to work like you've never worked in your life, now is the time. You know, now is the time to just, you got to kind of reach in and source a level of motivation that you probably have never sourced before. You got to source a level of faith and determination that you haven't sourced before in your life. You just reach down and you find it. It's in there. And you got to say, you know what, I'm going to work and just see what I'm made of. I want to see what I'm made of. And that was, you know, a big challenge for me. When I had the opportunity to really go all in, I was tired of being mediocre. I was tired of just getting by. And if I was honest with myself, I knew I was capable of more. And I think if you guys are really honest with yourself, you know you're capable of a lot more. You know, we all live in our own little comfort zone. And in our comfort zone, it's really easy. And it's easy because it's comfortable. That's why they call it a comfort zone. And so this is about breaking out of the comfort zone. This is about saying, you know what, I got to hike my skirt up and go to work. I've got to just go after it because I got one shot. And that's what I knew was true in World Ventures. I knew what I had my hands on. And if you look at the other top leaders in World Ventures, what's common among us, Savas, why did he do what he did? He knew what he had his hands on. He knew if he committed for a period of time, he could change his family for generations. And because of a commitment that I made 5 years ago, you know, we're set up. I mean, we've paid off about $750,000 I had in business debt. We've earned several $1,000,000, you know, well over 7 figures in the bank, you know, tons of money in investments. And, you know, just with the income we have now and the investments that we have now, we've got an income, a passive income that is going to produce several $100,000 a year over the next few years. I mean, it's pretty amazing what we all have our hands on. And so, you know, just thank God for World Ventures. It's a huge blessing. Guys, realize what you have your hands on. Let's get after it. And unless you guys have anything else for me, been a huge honor. Thanks for allowing me to share. Salvas, appreciate you inviting me onto the webinar with the guys here. Can't wait to meet you guys in person and have some fun together. Take care, everyone. Good night.
Thank you very much, Matt. Much appreciated. And, yeah, look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
See you guys. And so everybody else, just before you go, wow, how good was that? That guy is an absolute genius. So I don't know about you guys. I'm actually really excited. I'm going to be out there presenting today. And look, don't be scared of the hard work. I'm not even going to get into anything else. I'm just going to leave it right where it is. He gave us a good action plan. Just to recap on that, it's a 90-day action plan. Get into it, get amongst it, and just go out there and just fire on. And look, I know we didn't get to everybody's questions, but you know, honestly, next time, get on the circuit and see him in real life, and